Alright, welcome to the third part of this chapter, reading about cellular respiration. In this part of the chapter, we're going to read and annotate this short article about cellular respiration. To give you a short definition, cellular respiration is the way a cell breathes. Cells breathe by creating energy. They do this with oxygen, hence the word respiration, which is like our respiratory system, which is where our lungs are for when we breathe. Essentially what a cell does when it does cellular respiration is it takes in glucose and oxygen and puts it in the mitochondria. Remember, that's the powerhouse of the cell, and uses those things to make energy. You should have noticed that happening in the chemical reaction, and if you haven't, don't worry, you'll get a chance to see it in action, or you can read about it in this article. When you read articles in Amplify, remember our goal is to do 3 types of annotations. We're doing shares, presents, and discusses. You're going to read through the article and pick what you think is interesting to share, what you think is important to discuss with your partner, and present things you don't understand. I'll go ahead and model this by making one of each. So I'm going to carefully read through the article, and once I read through it, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I add things in. So in particular, I'm going to start with this one. Cellular means having to do with cells. So do cells breathe too? In a certain way, yes. Individual cells do take in oxygen and produce carbon dioxide. But it's more than that. It's a chemical reaction that releases energy to power everything that cells and your body as a whole need to function. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this part. I'm going to add a note. I'm going to add the hashtag. I'm going to say present. As a student, I may not understand this, so I'm going to add present and say, I don't understand what a chemical reaction is. Comma, what does this look like? This is an example of a present. Presents are things that you don't understand or things that you would like the teacher, in this case myself, to talk about so that you can understand what's going on in this particular article. I'd save it, and then I'd move on. I'd keep going till I found other information. In particular, I found this part. In tiny cell parts called mitochondria, the oxygen and glucose combine in a chemical reaction. I would highlight this, add a note, and I would write something about it. In particular, I'm going to write, I learned about that. I know this happens in the mitochondria, because that's the powerhouse of the cell. Now I need to add a hashtag, so I'll add it to the top. In this case, I'm going to make this a hashtag share, because I think it's important that all the students realize that the things you're learning show up over and over again in the lesson and are worth remembering. Because if the lesson doesn't seem to have any use, it doesn't feel like you really want to remember it, right? So let's spell this one as share. And let's do one more discussed. As I go through this, I'm going to keep reading, and I'm going to offer this part as the discussion. Add a note, hashtag discuss, and then I'm going to discuss with my partner where these things come from and where they go. Because in this particular part, I know that mitochondria may make all the materials I need for energy, and it does this with oxygen and glucose, but it seems to make energy, water, and carbon dioxide. If it makes water, I might discuss with my partner, if it makes water, why do we need to drink water? Couldn't we just get water by breathing? And carbon dioxide, where does that come from? Where does it go? What happens to it? And we can look through how to do that next. When you're done with that, make sure you click on the hand in button and get ready to move on to step 4, the sim.